listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Fabulous.
Instagram, eh? I don't know what they'll come up with next.
I think they've come up with stuff since Instagram.
Have they?
Yeah.
Yes. There's all sorts of things.
So behind.
The other one, what else is, what's gone though? Is Tumblr gone now? No? Remember Tumblr?
Yes.
Yeah.
Frank's still getting over BHS going. Don't start with Tumblr.
Well, Frank's still very attached to MySpace.
Is he?
Yes.
Me and 800 goth girls. What a revolution we could start.
What an autobiography that would be if someone would write it.
I think that's Russell Brand's autobiography.
You left the nation on tenterhooks, Frank, regarding the dark side of the moon last week.
Yes.
Do you recall?
Now, for people who didn't listen last week, and for ones who've got short-term memory loss, what happened was the Chinese have landed, I think, 2 craft on the dark side of the moon. That's what they said. And my thing was, how can you have a dark side of the moon if the moon is spinning? Mm-hmm. That there must every dark has its day, as the saying goes, I think.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, Rob has been in touch to clear this matter up.
Oh, good.
Now for the science bit.
And now for the science bit.
I wish we had a science jingle.
Oh, think of something sciencey.
This is
Call it the lady with the science bit.
This is sciencey.
Okay.
Okay, it's slightly out of date, sciencey.
Hello, Frank and crew. Oh, I like they've used crew.
Yo.
Very, very moon.
Yeah.
Appropriate. You were right in saying that there is no dark side of the moon.
Okay, that's moving on.
I'm afraid there's more.
Oh.
In fact, these words are spoken on the album Dark Side of the Moon, if you listen carefully.
Oh, there isn't one.
Mm.
The moon always keeps the same face towards Earth as it rotates around the Earth. And we know that the face we see is sometimes bright and sometimes dark. It's the same with the face we can't see. It's sometimes light and sometimes dark. The report about the Chinese lander was not accurate. It should have talked about the side of the moon facing away from us, not the dark side of the moon. Anyway, love the show. Rob. Oh, sorry about the praise sneaking in there.
Yeah, we
I
don't
couldn't
normally
help
read
it.
that bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I always
Your head was full of science.
I always see, the man in the moon?
Yes.
I can always see him, mouth slightly agape.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So that suggests that we're always looking at the same side.
I think probably you can't always see him. You just think you can always see him.
Oh, really? I don't remember ever looking up and thinking, wait, hold on.
Where's he gone?
Where's the man in the moon? Well, maybe you're right. The mind plays terrible tricks on people, of course. I was watching a programme last night about the use of LSD in the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
And they were very confused, some of those.
Many,
Immensely confused.
I heard about some of their confusions.
Yeah. Which included Pink Floyd. See, I only ever listened to the first Pink Floyd album. I'm of the once Sid Barrett left.
Yes.
I thought it became slightly.
You were less into it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Considerably less into it, to the point of not listening to it at all.
It's a bit platform black trainers.
I'm sure we've got a lot of listeners who love it, and God bless them. But it left me very dark side of the moon cold.
Did it?
Okay.
Well, now we've done the science bit. I think we also...
so there isn't a dark side of the moon. That's quite a big news flash.
There's a side facing away from us.
What it should be called is the other side.
Yeah, the other side of the moon.
Okay.
Far side, even.
I'll meet you on the other side of the moon.
No, you're all right, thanks.
That does sound like a pub car park.
Then you'd want a chorus to come in and said, how do you mean the other side? Anyway, let's not go. I don't want to create a concept album live on air. Or do I? 8, 12, 15
Most
now.
disappointing news of the year.
Got a little bit of info in for you on my email trawl where I read the Friday night emails. Evening, Alan, on his Friday night trawl. Hello to Frank and the lovely Miss M now. Long-time reader, first-time emailer. I'm really pleased to hear about a new segment on your show about past Omnium Gatherum. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
Omnium Gatherum.
Anyway, while we ponder that, I'll continue.
Can I just phone my parish priest?
As I usually listen to your show on a podcast midweek to distract me from the pain of running, I'm never on time to contact you in the moment about your anecdotes. They say hilarious anecdotes, but I thought it would be good to just...
No, thanks.
No,
you
can't have that. Yeah. Oh, God.
Frank has mentioned in 2 shows now...
It might have been some of my other anecdotes, my sort of, my bleak...
the miserable stuff.
Yeah, desperate anecdotes I throw in now and again.
Frank has mentioned in 2 shows now the story of dear Cilla Black, who used to pronounce the word Wi-Fi as Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah.
Cilla used to have a house in Malaga and lived there during the winter months. Wi-Fi is how the Spanish pronounce Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So I think Cilla was being a bit Spanglish when she was chatting to Frank. Anyway, I hope this clears the mystery up. Sorry if this is completely null and void and null and voids your joke.
No, I that's really interesting.
It is.
I thought.
Thank you, Liz, for that.
I always assumed, Liz, that Cilla had got it mixed up with what's the thing where you play tennis and that on that game?
Oh, Nintendo Wii.
Yes,
Wii.
the Wii, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought she'd got Wii mixed up with Wi-Fi.
I just thought she was confused.
And got into Wi-Fi. Yeah, exactly. Step inside, love. Let me show you the way. Good old Cilla. And another story I've always told her, but which I'm going to tell again, is when I saw her leaving a dressing room at the London studios with not only all the stuff from, the flowers, the newspapers, the stuff around the sink, the shampoo, everything in her arm. Multi-millionaire. God bless her for that. I respected her for that. I've left with a lot of stuff in my time.
Yeah.
Have you?
Oh, God, I've got 3. Actually, those were gifts. Now I come to think of it. I've got 3 London studios, dressing gowns, robes.
They're good quality.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's closed down now, so they have collector's items. Yes, now I'm trapped in a... Can I find it?
What are we going to do?
Can't find your way out of a
Can't
link.
Cilla get us out of this?
Okay, what about... Something tells me something's gonna happen tonight. I'll do it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had another... were you going to say something?
No.
Please do.
No, I was just making noises.
I just wanted to share this with you. This is from 467. Hi, Frank and team. With reference to the moon, come on, it's really not hard.
Well,
the moon does one full rotation in the same time it takes to travel around the Earth. Hence, we always see the same side of the moon. That's Lee in Taunton.
but that's not what Al was saying.
No, I was wrong.
Okay.
I was wrong in a different way from you were wrong.
Well, that's okay.
That's
But when a man says that.
But it is commonly used, the term dark side of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't blame me.
And it is a common problem because it should be the other side of the moon from us, I think.
But I think this person is obviously of scientific mind.
Lee in Taunton.
I think Lee in Taunton has got a bit of the Glenn Hoddle about him. Get well soon. In that, they always say that Glenn Hoddle, when he went to Tottenham, got the coach to wallop the ball at him. He took it on his chest, dropped it down to his thigh and smacked it into the top corner and said, when I've been here 6 weeks, I want you all to be able to do that. And there was some big stopper centre-halves going, And I think it's hard to realise that not everyone is as clever as you are.
Yeah, Lee.
Good night. No, it's not the end. Don't worry. Speaking of, I like a bit of history.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A bit of history.
A bit of a history buff.
I went to the British Museum with my child.
How is
and
that?
we saw the Lewis chessmen. Are you familiar with the Lewis chessmen? They're very, very beautiful. It's a chess set that was found buried.
These very old figures.
Yeah, they're lovely sort of weird Anglo-Saxon kings and
Have
queens.
you seen other Lewis chessmen before?
I went to see some in Edinburgh one year. I think they've got a few up there.
Oh.
And
We've talked about these little
do you
guys.
remember when I went to see Nog in the Nog? Open inverted commas, better than Hamilton.
Yes, and I believe they used that for the poster.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah.
But that Noggin the Nog, the popular TV kids programme, was, I say popular, 40 years ago or more, was based on the Lewis Chessmen as well. So these are fabulous. And I love them. I've been to see them several times. I've got a book about them. I just think they look great. I've held one.
Wow.
Anyway,
haven't we all, dear?
For all that time, it's never occurred to me what Buzz said to me. Hold on a minute. He says they're all white. I don't mean in a Michael Barrymore way.
Right.
All white. He said they're all white. So how did you know who was who?
Yeah.
And that has never occurred to me before. That they are all white.
Wow.
So there's enough of them for 2 players. But
yeah.
Oh.
How big are these chessmen?
Oh, they're, I would say, let me think.
Do you like that I've said chessmen like it's a surname?
3 or 4 inches high. The not the pawns, but the figures.
Okay.
More powerful pieces on the back row.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not like the House of Commons, of course, where the backbenchers are less. They used to be, but now.
Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah.
A little bit political.
So if anyone knows how come all the Lewis chessmen are white, I'd love to know.
Oh, everyone's going to be doing that texting this morning, Frank, on commercial radio.
Yeah, well you could do it about almost any TV show up until about 10 years ago. But, I mean, but with a chess set, it's, it is quite, it's quite a thing. We saw do you know the Royal Game of
No?
That's the thing at the British Museum, long fascinating me, called the Royal Game of which I always thought was named by an overzealous stenographer. So they're like, this is the Royal Game of, and he's just written it down. It's, that's also like a game from about 5,000 years ago, like a sort of, like dominoes Ludo. Let's go to the British Museum.
Well, I find
Brilliant.
Some of the old school games, though, they're quite basic, aren't they, some of them? I mean, there's no Miss Scarlet or Prof Plum.
Well, this one looks hard, though.
Does it?
The Royal Game of it looks really hard. It does. I mean, I think they've worked out you can buy them there to go home and play with.
Really?
Anyone fancy a game of the Royal Game of? Oh, what a great Christmas that would have been.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So, yes. By the way, one thing we haven't done thus far, and it's, what's the date?
The date is the 19th of January.
So we're more than halfway through January, and I don't think anyone has fessed up to a New Year's resolution.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit late now for these things.
Well, most of them, of course, have already collapsed.
Yeah.
When I used to run regularly, this time of the year, suddenly the streets became crowded with runners, and around about this time they'd be starting to thin out somewhat.
Well, I've been wondering about that, Frank.
What, running?
Well, I mean, I worry because it is very ageing. This is the problem.
What, running is ageing?
Yeah, it's terrible. But I do, facially, it's bad for the face.
Is it really? In what way?
Oh, it's terrible.
It's all that...
it's the gravity thing,
It's all that jigging about.
Yes, it's all the jigging about.
You're basically shaking your face.
Get jiggy with it.
You're shaking your face up and down.
You're joking.
Yeah, on
it's
a repeated... Yeah, up and down. That's how your face is going on a run.
Yeah. Wow. It's really strong. He's looking.
That's never occurred to me.
Oh,
my partner runs every day and she's
she
very
looks
beautiful.
marvellous, I know.
She does.
She also shakes her head quite a lot.
For now.
Maybe that levels it out, the amount of negative head shaking she does.
Having said that, I did commit on this show once, you may recall.
To run 100 metres in heels?
I said... Well, no, not in heels.
Wasn't it?
No, what it was,
I'm getting you mixed up with Ginger Rogers.
Yes. I said...
Do you know Ginger Rogers? No, but thanks
for the tip. I thought that possibly, I may be overstating it slightly, I thought running 100 metres, that it looked relatively easy.
Yes.
And that I might be about the same time as Usain Bolt. I didn't...
I remember that.
I think, to be fair, I think you agreed you might put a second on or something.
Well, maybe 1 second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I said I was going to do it, and I didn't. I'm going to do that this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you?
It will be. I'm going to get our producer Sarah to supervise it, to check there's no cheating.
You're going to do the 100 metres?
I'm going to
What
do
kind of
it.
surface are you going to be on?
I can do it around. Well, we'll have to. 100 metres is around the length of a football pitch, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit further than I thought.
One length, yeah.
I didn't know it was that long.
What, 100 metres?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can...
100.
Anyway, the current record I think is 9.58 seconds. So
If you beat that, I'll be really impressed.
That'd be great
Okay.
if you beat that. If you
Imagine
became
if I beat that.
the world, because you know, in the Guinness Book of Records, which my son is a tremendous enthusiast of, there's all sorts of people with records that you wouldn't think who've
Well,
just
that's
come up
it.
with a clever record, but for someone to get the 100
imagine
metres.
I got 9.57.
No,
No
try-
one could believe it.
No
What would
training,
be worse if you
nothing.
got it and the weather conditions were wrong and you didn't get in the book? That
Well,
would be
because
really
also-
And I was wearing fashion trainers.
But we're not going to have any official legislative people.
What
there
about the
as well.
producer? Someone at Absolute
I
Radio.
don't think they'll do it on just a producer with a stopwatch. I think they've probably got other
No, they've got other work.
metrics that they use to
But
make
what
sure
a
it's...
seat now. I mean, I wonder how many people have broken the world record just in training and stuff
Well,
like
this
that.
is it. This is why I think it's time I did it, because I think it's quite easy. People just don't try it. Okay?
I think there are times when I've been trying to avoid falling over where for brief stretch, I've hit very high speeds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean I don't think I've kept it up for 100 yards. So I once filmed with Peter Purvis.
Worked with them all.
Oh.
Yeah,
He's
of,
worked with them all.
of Blue Peter
Love these
and
anecdotes.
perhaps more notably Doctor Who, of course. And he...
Was he Goldie's owner? Yeah. Anyway. I go by dogs.
Was he Goldie's owner?
Yeah, I go by dogs.
Goldie's owner sounds like a good name for a prog rock band. I went to see Goldie's owner last night. They were amazing. And he tripped, and I bet you he ran over 50 yards. I mean, with his nose 18 inches from the ground. It was one of the bravest attempts at staying upright I've ever seen by a tripper.
Were his arms busy at this point?
He was doing all the right things. But I'm afraid gravity, at the end of the day, stamped its authority on the situation, and down he went. But you wouldn't believe what he said about Biddy Baxter, but I'll tell you off air.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Did you have
Now.
a New Year's resolution?
Yes.
Oh, did you?
Mine, this is a serious one, actually.
Go on.
You know what, you got to... I think
That
for
was
New Year's
Now for the
resolutions,
serious bit.
you got to look at your faults. Try and look at your faults.
Oh, God.
Okay.
And sort them out.
We'll do that, love. We'll do that for you.
So one thing I've noticed I do, and I'm not counting this on the show because this is a slightly different.
This is IRL.
We are a three-headed monster. Do you know what I mean? We
Yes.
speak as one in many
Oh, yeah.
ways.
So,
But what-
so this is IRL.
So what I do, I've found in company, is I interrupt people quite a lot.
With
I mean
funny
that-
things to say.
Well, sometimes, and sometimes just helping them to be more interesting.
You never struck me as an interrupter.
Perhaps I don't interrupt you as much, you see, but I've realised that a lot of my friends, there's that moment where I see them go, oh, because I've come in to speak.
Why don't you interrupt us then? Maybe you're frightened
I
of
think
me.
I do, but it's not so bad because you're being paid.
Okay.
It's more acceptable. You're right. It's more acceptable. But also, I would, if I may say, I would suggest that maybe Frank doesn't interrupt you as much as the people that he's talking about, Emily, because you're already funny and interesting, and that's what he's trying to bring them up
What are
to
you
speed
saying
on.
about my friends?
That's what I'm.
They're two of the nicest people I know.
Boring though, aren't they?
Well, I've realised now, of course, I've been carrying them for years.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is starting to happen now, is now I'm not interrupting people. I'm thinking,
You're falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's unbearable.
For God,
It's weird, 'cause-
I thought they were interesting, but I realised now it was just smart editing on my part. Honestly, people go on and on.
Well, you
It's
need,
such
and
a
then you have to
coincidence.
sort of usher them off the chat show.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Really, though, I mean...
What sort of interruptions will you make, Frank? So, in a conversation with one of your
look,
friends?
one of the reasons, I think, is as I've got older, sometimes I think of something brilliant to say, and by the time I've let them finish their dreary sentence, I've forgotten it. And I think you just have to, you have to have a scales in your mind of what's worth it. And, there's a famous thing, isn't there, that Alan Shearer would push people out the way and, and to go for a ball in a sort of I'm better. I'm good at this. You better leave it to me. And I don't. It's that. But so I've letting people now witter on.
Oh yeah.
And I'm starting to think it's not done me any favours. It's not doing them any favours.
I think you're right. I'm just making a New Year's resolution now to interrupt people more. I don't want to have to go through this that Frank's going through.
It's amazing what you can do with some interruptions and a bit of guidance.
Yeah.
And that you can actually turn people into sort of a relatively interesting companion. But if you let them just roam free, I mean, honestly, I don't know how they get on when I'm not there. It must be beyond tedious.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We were just talking.
Yes.
Yeah, just generally.
Yeah.
And Emily used the phrase Britain's third richest man.
Well, I don't mind saying what it was in relation to.
Go on then.
Oh, that's very honest.
When I was a teenager, and I don't know how the kids describe it now. It wasn't. I mean, it was an innocent. It was a kiss.
Okay.
We used to say snogging in my days.
Yes.
And
Tongue sandwich.
yeah,
Is that too far?
yeah.
All right.
I must have been about 16 or 17, and anyway, I was a bit. I think it didn't go anywhere. Sadly, no. I think I was a bit embarrassed, and I did that thing of I think I quite liked him, but then I ignored him because that's what I thought you should do to try and be cool. And then I was telling this story to Frank and Alan, and I said, and now he's Britain's third richest man.
Yeah, I love that.
Third. I think he might have slipped down a bit now, I think.
What, have you not got the rich list?
Well, I'm going to have to get it up.
There's that thing they have in the Times, the rich
Oh,
list.
yeah.
That's what he was on, I think. I saw him
What
on
I'd
there.
like to know is why do we only get the top end of this phenomenon? Why
a good
don't you
point.
get... Who is the Britain's third poorest man? And why doesn't he get any publicity?
Can you
Be
imagine?
considered shaming.
Imagine the poor
the shame list.
The poor list, which is a brochure that came out the Sunday Times of the 100 poorest people in Britain. I mean, that surely would tell us more about life.
They could do it on the opposite page of the rich list and have like how in debt.
Well, it could be
indebted, like they could have their minus
a
credit.
two-parter,
I think
couldn't
that's
it?
such a good idea.
Yeah.
Bring out the poor list.
Make a game of it, yeah?
Stop making people feel bad about themselves all the time. They read the poor list and think, you know what, Sue? We're doing all right.
Yeah.
I think it's good that I didn't end up with Britain's third richest man because I'm monstrous enough as it is. Can you imagine how awful I would have been?
Don't say that about yourself.
Okay. Text in on 8 12 15.
No, don't.
No, I won't. I don't.
By the way, I was listening to the advert for the new Absolute Radio app. There is a new Absolute Radio app, guys. Don't forget to download it. And one of the features that it celebrates is that there's less ads on it. I thought we had to pretend that the ads were a good thing, not talk about as if less is an advertising point. Can I make it clear I think the ads are brilliant? No, I wouldn't want to do the show without them.
Wow.
Chris Evans. It makes me feel like I'm part of a proper professional organisation when there's ads rather than some sort of charity work.
I mean, you started the show today playing the adverts, didn't you?
Exactly. That's tremendous work. Those of you listening on the Decade channels won't know what he's talking about. But on Absolute Radio,
it's a joke.
I played the adverts looking through Gary Gilmore's eyes.
It's absolutely wonderful.
Song. Tremendous narrative.
447 Goldie's owner was Simon Groom. Okay.
Remember Groom? Yeah, it was you that said it was
Blue Peter.
perfect.
I know. I know, I'm correcting myself.
Simon Groom.
Yeah.
I wonder how long he could manage before falling flat on his face if tripped.
Yeah.
Should get all the old Blue Peter people and see who could do
So many
best.
good ideas
I'm
today.
still back in Purvis. I Love Dogs. You know, he had a magazine called I Love Dogs.
Did he?
Really?
Yeah.
Fabulous, my kind of man.
Yeah, he'd be a
you
good,
like
he'd be a
dogs,
good
Well,
one for the
Frank got
pod.
me a prescription and prescription.
I got her a prescription.
Echo from
You know,
EastEnders.
you're not meant to share your meds, guys. You know that, don't you?
A subscription.
I
to
just know
your
this
dog
guy is-
monthly.
Yeah, I did, your dog. Yeah.
And do you know what? I loved it so much, I've carried it over.
That's-
Carried it on.
Oh, that's nice.
That's a successful one.
That is tremendous
Okay.
news. Whereas my partner bought me a subscription to Bindweed magazine.
Oh, yeah.
The Anglo-Saxon Society.
How did that go?
I love it. Lots of pictures of
that true?
soil. No, that's true. It's
Excellent.
I wish I could say it in Old English, but I can't. But
Well, someone's got a birthday coming up, so I want to investigate, Al. Lewis Chessman Weekly.
Oh, yes. Weekly sounds a bit
Weekly?
much.
I think you'll find
Cover
that,
girl this
I
week,
think
the
you'll find
Queen.
that Lewis Chessman Weekly is Britain's fourth richest.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and or Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I think we got some Twitter activity, haven't we?
We've had some tweets in, Frank, about the Lewis Chessman.
Good.
Breaking Lewis Chessman
In a
update.
beautiful juxtaposition of old and new.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I the only person that's ever said that? Mr. Clive has been in touch to say...
Does he work at Grace Brothers?
He does sound like that, or potentially a janitor on a children's TV show in the 60s.
Yeah,
maybe.
possibly.
Modern chess pieces are the same from all angles, apart from the knight. These face one way. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's Mr. Clive take. Do you want to explain briefly what the question you were posing?
Well, yeah, the Lewis Chessman's a very famous and very beautiful chess set at the British Museum, and I love it because the kings and the queens and all that, they're real characters. They're not just like generic things. But having looked at it and been fascinated by it for years, my 6-year-old asked me why all the pieces were white and how did they know whose was whose, and that had never ever occurred to me before.
Well, Jim Jameson says it's the way they are facing.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the fellow.
It's the way they're... the trouble is the pawns are just... They're nothing. The pawns are just...
quite.
I mean, it really is the class system held up, because after all these beautiful kings and queens, and the pawns are just like little blocks.
Rubbish.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Williamson says, again, yours are the ones with their backs to you.
Yeah, but I don't think the pawns have got backs.
They must have had some kind of back indication.
Oh.
I don't mean like indicators, like
No.
rear brake lights or anything.
No, exactly. No, fog lights. People still have fog lights.
Yes, definitely.
Do they? Are they? How does it work? Are they automatic now, Al? Yeah, you don't.
I
have
hope
to turn
so.
them
I
on.
haven't switched one on for 30 years.
No,
Well,
you are
next thing
meant
you'll
to
be telling
switch
me you're
them
not
on.
using your choke.
No, you are meant to switch them on.
Remember the choke? Oh, I
I
love
do.
the choke.
Before we continue, can I just tell you both, you are meant to turn them on.
I
You
didn't know-
manually operate your own fog
I
lights.
didn't know
have
that,
no
Frank.
idea where they are.
Oh, God, we've like Prince Philip.
No.
He's all right, everyone. He's okay.
No idea where they are.
They'll
Fog
probably
lights.
be downwards from, wherever your ignition key is.
Yeah, well,
Somewhere around there.
What about key to ignition?
I've been all right with it so far.
All right.
No one's hit me in fog.
Well, that's fine. That's fine then.
It's a great attitude to have.
Yeah,
It is.
seems my method is
Seems to be
working.
having a second driving test.
No, I might have a look for the old fog lamps.
Have
again.
a look, because it is useful.
Okay.
You know.
It's like Mr. Magoo.
Be safe.
Yeah, I might have a look with the old
Be safe, be seen.
Yes, what is this here? I thought that was an M&M. Turns out it's a fog lamp button. So, I'll do that.
So the BBC have been criticised in the Daily Mail this week.
What?
Oh, hang on. That's a story from every week of the last 10 or 20 years.
Yes.
No, but they have this week because I don't know if you guys are keen on news, but
I love a bit of news.
There's been a lot of news.
And I'll tell you what I like
the last few weeks.
I'll tell you what I like about the news especially is the topical stuff.
There's been a lot of...
I heart news.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. I might wear that T-shirt.
But which do you heart more, news or football?
Oh, football. But I do still like news.
Oh,
but now...
Do you know, don't make me choose.
Well,
what about
somebody
football
had
news?
to choose. Somebody had to choose between political news and football, and that somebody was somebody at the BBC.
Do you remember when I downloaded an app called Latest Poetry News, and nothing ever came up? In the end, I got a refund, 69p. But I know my rights.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Just momentarily jump away from FA Cup and politics
Well,
news.
this sounds like a news flash.
It is.
Is it breaking?
I'm going back to chess pieces news now. 660. We were discussing the Lewis chessmen.
Yeah.
And why are they all white? Surely they would need to be different colours, indeed. On the chess pieces, is there a dark side and a light side that would tell you which way they are facing? Or is that the moon from Nasher in Bedford?
Yeah, but they're not revolving, the chessmen.
Good point. And then I think potentially an actual answer, a fix from Liz in Sheffield.
Okay.
Hi Frank, half of the Lewis chess set were originally stained red, but this has worn away, so they're now all just ivory.
Oh,
Peter Richardson has that news as well.
Oh, well, now it all makes absolute sense.
Doesn't it?
You know, I've got now, I don't know if I'm imagining this retrospectively, but I've got an image now that the odd bit of pink in the folds of one of the figures. But I might have...
I love your detailed obsession with them.
Yes, nice.
Yeah, good on you.
Meanwhile, the BBC have been criticised for having shown the end of the FA Cup game between, I think it was Southampton
Derby.
And Derby.
Southampton Derby, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it went into extra time and pens, as they say in the biz.
Yeah, oh, God.
Pens.
And they've been criticised because they didn't show Theresa May's speech straight after she scraped through
Well, they moved it,
of no
didn't
confidence.
They bumped it.
Yeah,
onto BBC Two.
So I think the argument for the people that like to argue about such things is that should have been on BBC One and the football should have been moved.
But can I just say, sorry, I was going to say, do people still have that sort of channel loyalty now? Like, I really want to watch that, but sadly it's on BBC Two, so I won't be able to switch over. I don't understand.
I picked my team. I'm a BBC One guy through and
BBC One
through.
for life. Okay?
Not just for tonight.
Think there's a suggestion that there are people who don't have BBC Two. Can that possibly be right?
Is the whole country going to be catered for somebody that's got a broken remote control? Is that what it's all about?
That'd be good on the poor list. You could have a special little, you get boxes on features of special things. That last person to get Channel 5 in Britain. I wonder...
I worry that was you.
Is there anyone out there who can't get Channel 5? 8, 12, 15. Because I still used to go to places.
There's no one out there more obsessed with it than you. He loves it. He watches everything.
I used to go to places where they would say, "Oh no, we don't have Channel 5."
Oh yeah.
But I don't quite understand this emphasis on it's got to be on BBC One. I mean, I just wonder whether that's still relevant, that idea of this is the BBC with information. It's not like that
I don't know
anymore.
about you, but when I look to see what I'm going to watch on telly that night, I don't even bother looking at BBC One or ITV, because I know there'll be nothing on there I like.
Goodness me.
So I look with faint hope at 2 and 4.
So it's Frank's management on the phone. Yeah, interesting.
No, but there's always like cooking and people on there all the time.
People talking, Frank.
People
and eating.
Yeah.
talking and eating.
People neither on the rich nor the poor list.
Oh, there's a lot of the
There's a
middle.
whole middle
I'll
ground.
take you one further. I don't even know what channel I'm watching, okay? It's just all one now.
I think you're right. When you look at the ratings, it does suggest that some people just watch BBC One and or ITV and never ever change over.
Yeah.
I mean,
Got to admire their
what's
commitment
going
in a way.
on? I don't.
But it was her big moment, and I felt for Theresa May, only because this was her big moment. She was doing her big speech. She had the microphone, the lectern, and whenever they have the microphone and the lectern, you know that's a big moment.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Prime Minister in the Disney movie when the aliens are about to land, isn't it?
Yeah, but Theresa May, of course...
Thanks for the tip.
She planned all this, her and her people, that it would be at 10 o'clock, so she hit the main news bulletin.
Yeah.
That was why she timed it for 10 o'clock. And, of course, it's classic. This is classic Theresa May. That Derby scored 2 goals in 6 minutes. And then it went to... What did Theresa May do? It's about 2 years ago. An old lady must have approached her in the street saying, do you want to buy some heather? And she said, clear off. And has she taken something from the tomb of Tutankhamun? But really, things could not... Everything goes wrong for Theresa. 2 goals in 6 minutes from a championship team against the Premier League team, and it goes into a... Man. So, yeah, I felt for her a little bit.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
186 has texted us. Hi, everyone. The football versus the PM thing. Maybe the Beeb should bring back public information films pointing out that they actually have a dedicated news channel that they can watch that tosh on.
Anti-news.
Yeah, he's not into the news. Or she.
Yeah, of course, or she. Let's not forget that. Of course, there wouldn't have been a Theresa May speech if it hadn't been for an own goal by David Cameron.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, they could learn a lot from... I wonder if we could have another look at the first referendum on VAR.
Very good.
See if it was was all okay.
Excellent.
That's what the people's vote is. It's basically VAR.
Well, yeah, depending on your opinion. Yeah.
She was, I mean, essentially, what she read out was essentially directed at one person, wasn't it? So it was all directed at Jeremy Corbyn, this speech, was my sense of it.
Oh,
I think so, because she was mentioning, in that, because I know that, because I do that in arguments, it's the PASAG thing of mentioning, and I have spoken to the Liberal Democrats, all the people that had cooperated.
Oh, yeah.
That's the equivalent of, well, my friends all say. But I just worried it was a bit... when someone's just broken up and they put up the Instagram post saying, if you can't handle me at my worst, you sure don't deserve me at my best. Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn.
Do you think...
it was a bit of that.
Do you think Theresa May showing Jeremy Corbyn what he's missing?
Well, I really think she is, Frank. And I think the meetings...
Goodness.
She's almost posting pictures of her and Nicola Sturgeon at an Ibiza bar saying, having a great time.
Right. Oh, no.
Living my best life, #blessed.
Trying to play on his FOMO.
Imagine.
She got a haircut.
If I was out with Theresa May and Nicola Sturgeon, imagine the amount of interrupting I'd have to do. I mean, it would be... dear, it'd be like breaking the ice.
When Theresa May went out to do her speech, did she know that she was on BBC Two and clashing with the football? Did she know at that point? Had an aide told her, by the way, the BBC have put you on too?
That would be a good texting. What does Theresa May know? I don't...
Please don't do that, everyone.
Do you think her people would have told her that, or would they have said, oh no, she'll be heartbroken if she thinks she's on BBC Two?
She'll be
but
sick as a
then you'd feel humiliated, Then she might have been angry afterwards if they hadn't told her.
Yeah.
But if they had told her, she could have sneaked in a little, football parlance. She could have said, I sneaked through, I'm over the moon, all that stuff that they say.
Yeah, she could have.
She could have thrown in a joke, couldn't she?
She could have done a football. Yeah, I've been relegated to BBC Two.
Yeah.
That would have been good if she'd done that. But she she wouldn't have done it that well.
References to benches.
Timing and emphasis would have been a bit wrong, and it would have been an awkward, clumsy joke.
And then she would have walked back into number 10 like that David Cameron. Remember the little hum he did when he re-entered?
Oh, yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
He always did a little hum when he re-entered, apparently, David Cameron. Weird thing. Still, we've all got our peccadillos.
You.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Emily's got some beef coming in on the emails.
Bring it.
Here we go.
We've got an email entitled "Running is not bad for your face." I've put that tone on there. Probably
Okay.
it could be. Running is not bad for your face.
I can handle it.
But it does start a bit beef-like. Emily is talking nonsense.
Oh, dear.
Whoa, we've all had a drink.
Okay.
Steady on.
It's okay, officer. I'll see you gets home all right.
Someone better lawyer up.
If she's going to categorically state something as fact, I'm going to have to ask her to start citing sources.
I think I don't want to take sides here, but
Sure.
I would.
Are you going to side with the listener abusing me?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he abused you, did he? What do you think?
No.
I think.
Well,
I
nonsense.
think.
Call me a liar.
Or she? Is it a he or a she?
No, it's a
I
he.
think.
I would quite like to know about the face thing. I find it
We
interesting
all do.
that running. I'd like to know if running does make your face, because it throws your face.
I
about.
think it's
I'm
to
not
do
aware
with-
of my face moving
Okay,
much.
I'm not categorically stating it as fact. I apologise if that came up. But my
Oh,
opinion
don't.
is that, well, it's all an opinion, isn't it? You can always be disproved.
They do.
However,
They do look a bit. They look drawn, but I always think that's because they're very thin runners.
well, yes, because you're burning off fat. You're burning off a layer of fat, aren't you? But the main reason is the elasticity, I believe it affects.
Okay.
Again, just my
I mean, I
opinion.
tell you what I do see, and I think I'm allowed to say this in 2019, but sometimes I see women running in not a sturdy sports bra, and I want to say to them, excuse me, but you are going to tear tissue if you carry on like that.
Right,
But I just don't feel I can. I have to let them damage themselves.
Yeah.
That's where we are now.
Right, well, exactly.
PC gone mad, is it, Frank?
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, to let
Steady on.
someone damage themselves because you don't want to say the wrong
Say
thing.
anything.
Well,
But I'm grateful to the person who got in touch because I will be using that for my Twitter bio.
What's
what was
that?
it again now? Categorically stating
something as fact.
since
I think
but-
since you joined this show, if not before
since
it, I think.
joined
But I
live.
would say, I'm guessing that's a runner who is
Yeah,
doesn't like the idea that they're destroying their own face,
yeah.
or maybe they are. I don't know.
I think it's only 40
Coaches.
plus that it's an issue.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I had a neighbour who was a runner once who told me the exact opposite, that he thought that it was good for your face because the sweat
Well, there you
made
go.
it moisturised. So I guess we need some science people on this.
Yeah.
I got to tell you now, if my partner runs regularly, if
Well, she looks great, to be fair.
yeah, but
so-
I think she looks less. What's the word? Less tired when she's not running. If she has a couple of days, a couple of weeks off with a knee injury.
Oh, this would be nice for her to hear. She's listening
Well,
to
no,
me.
I think she always looks great. Obviously, I mean,
Okay, well, if
I
there
don't
is
want to
any...
be. I don't want to be sleeping rough in this weather.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've heard from the outside world.
We have.
I'd like to say that Barbara Dixon has...
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Dix. Remember that? Two Ronnies.
Oh, yes.
She follows us. She's just obviously a
Does
fan.
she?
She's retweeted that you've been to see the Lewis Chessman.
Fabulous.
She knows you so well.
I said, not only have I been to see
I made a
them-
joke, thank you.
Oh, you're very good. That was
Thank
good.
you.
So
Thank you, Frank, for the respect.
No, it was. I know. So I can say I'm
From the musical?
I have held from chess.
Yes.
I
There you
have,
go.
funnily enough, Lewis Chessman. It's all
Perfect.
tied in my.
That's why she retweeted it. She
In-
loves a chess bit of news.
In my end is my beginning.
Sorry, Frank.
Yeah, so not only that, but I took my 6-year-old to see the Lewis Chessmen. He loved them as well. They really appeal to kids because they like the cartoon things. But the best moment, he was talking about, at home, he was talking about ancient Egypt and and about the pictograph.
Tell him to give me a call. I'll tell him.
Yeah, you know that, like the way you get drawings of birds and all that instead of letters.
Yeah,
all that.
Is that hieroglyphics? No, it's something else.
Well, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So we're talking about, and he said, of course, they wouldn't have been able to read if it wasn't for the Rosetta Stone. And I was astonished that they'd told him that at school. So I took him to see the Rosetta Stone. There was a big crowd, and he squeezed his way through the crowd to the front of it, and he went, "That is amazing." And about 6 people went, "Oh."
Excellent.
It was great. But the Lewis chessmen, they're still the star for me.
Probably be calling them chess people next time we talk on the show about them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, actually.
We've had some other missives.
Have we?
Well,
657 has got upset, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Linda has texted, there are people out here that don't own a television, because we were discussing the BBC's dilemma.
That's a real ad tone.
No, but does that mean that she can't afford a television, which is, obviously, that's not great.
Do you think she's on the poor
It's not
list?
good, but we are all going to have to forward your details to the list.
Okay, well, at least we don't have to forward them to the licensing thing. Yeah,
I think she just feels left out that we're chatting on the radio about television.
Sorry. Some people deliberately don't have a telly because they think it's a corrupting and time-wasting thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't.
A bit 70s.
I've tried it. When I first moved into halls of residence at Warwick University, I thought, I won't have a telly, I'll be too busy studying. After 6 weeks, when I couldn't get my finger and toenails out the ceiling where I'd crawled in desperation to watch the telly, I phoned my partner of the time, let's call her my girlfriend, and said, "Can you bring a telly, any telly?" And then she arrived with this 8-inch black and white thing. Oh my God, it was like the skies had opened and I missed it so much. But, we're all different.
You were discussing...
Linda?
You were discussing the absence of Channel 5 in certain places.
Well, are there still people who can't get Channel 5? Or is that all been fixed?
We think there might be, because 298 has texted, having had a job as a Channel 5 retuner whilst being a student. I mean, that is a great job title, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did he come round to the VHS and a bit of tracking as well?
Well, it continues.
Just tracking.
It continues. I had to go house to house and change the signal channel of their VHS players.
Brilliant.
I got paid per house. I did very little work. I can tell you that there are likely a number of houses in the Woldingham area which never got Channel 5.
There you go.
Because they just didn't do it.
Well, I don't know how they live without the cricket highlights. Channel 5 cricket highlights are an hour of utter uninterrupted... Well, not uninterrupted, because there's adverts. An hour of interrupted bliss.
Oh.
I got to tell you.
Wow.
Let review.
I'll be using that.
G-Boycott.
There's also
still the best.
A question for you, Frank, from 123. Watched Adrian Chiles's Drinkers Like Me. It was a documentary that Adrian did. It's fabulous, actually. There was Frank popping around for lunch, and Adrian saying he'd put some lunch in a Tupperware box for him to take home. Did Frank wash and return the box, he would like to know?
No, that's a good question.
Okay.
I washed it. Well, I say I did. Gosher did. It's the cleaner.
Okay.
I'm not sure I did return it.
Okay.
And in fact, I might have acquired another Tupperware box from him
from
since
Adrian
then.
Childs.
This is how people like you get Tupperware, isn't it?
Basically, I beg food from Adrian Childs and then keep the Tupperware. But I can do an impression of the lid coming off a Tupperware box.
Go on, then.
There you go. So, was it worth waiting for? Probably not. I think the fares has arrived, so we must move on. Yes. Was there another question?
No, the Adrian Childs conundrum has been settled.
Yes. Of course, as you know, as a Catholic, I can't use a conundrum.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I'm responding to Instagram like it's just hot off the press.
Yeah.
How old is Instagram?
Oh.
8, 12, 15.
That's
Very
a
good
texting.
question. I had a little adventure this week, which I'd like to share with you boys. I got a call.
I wish Bear Grylls opened his shows like that.
I got a call from my management to say I'd had an invitation to something. I mean, that's an everyday occurrence for you, Frank. This is quite rare for me.
Well,
I know
maybe it was in the glory year.
I know my place in the guest pecking order, and it's a bit more Hereford pig auction. I don't get the big ones.
You
okay.
know, I'm no longer the most famous person in our family, don't you?
What?
Yeah, because my brother-in-law is a leading writer, multi-award-winning writer. And I was talking to his wife yesterday, and she said, "Oh yeah, he got sent the new Kindle." And I said, "Oh
Frank.
yeah." I said, "That's interesting. I've just been sent a mug in the shape of human excrement." And there you have the difference between our careers.
I was sent water. There you go.
Yeah, water.
Yeah. So I got this invitation, and she said,
"Timeless gift."
Water.
Really
Yeah.
nice, wonderful. That'd be a lovely ad campaign. She said, it's from Kensington Palace.
Whoa.
And I genuinely thought she said Kensington Police for a moment. I couldn't hear. And I said, what? And she said, it's Kensington Palace.
You're like, not another speed awareness course.
I don't know who lives at Kensington Palace, should I?
Well, I was straight on the Google. I do know. It was a choice of 2 couples who are based there. Do you know who the choices are? It is... Well, I can tell you who it was. Her official title, where I'd got the invitation from the office of the Duchess of Sussex, Princess Meghan.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, who's the other couple that lived there then?
William and Kate.
They both live in the same place.
I believe.
Honestly, accommodation in London.
Yeah.
People are having to shack up with all sorts
I believe
of
that's
even people they don't get on with.
That's where they're based. That's where they're officially based. That's not true, by the
Wow.
way.
So you got an invite from Meghan?
I got an invitation
From her
to
people.
an event from her people to an event. She was patron of a charity. It's the Mayhew Trust, which is this dog centre, and they said, "Would you like to come down? She's coming for a visit."
Dog centre.
Can you? It's a dog refuge,
Okay.
welfare charity. And my management said, "Can I give them your email?" I was like Alan Partridge with Lynn. I said, "Just give them my email. Hurry up."
Yeah, before they
Can
change
you
their
give
mind.
them my... I mean, come on. So I was straight... They called. Hello. I had a conversation. I said, "Oh, I'll be there. When is it?" I went down there. I didn't know what to wear, Frank. I mean, I hoped I'd be meeting her, which I did.
Whoa.
Yes.
What? You've held this bet well.
Well, I know, but I wanted to talk. I didn't know what you had been doing on Wednesday, both of
Well,
you.
nothing that can compare with meeting the M&M.
Well, you might have had a grapple.
You wore a massive Dalmatian outfit, didn't you? One of
I'll
those
tell you
furry
what I
costumes
wore.
that you see on the telly.
Well, I panicked and I ended up texting on the way to meet MM.
Yeah.
I suddenly panicked because I realised I had a jean on.
Oh,
and it was
no.
a smart jean. They'd said smart
Even
casual.
so.
I know, Frank. So
Well, if there's going to be dogs there, it's good to wear
Well,
trousers.
I wanted to get the
Yeah.
balance right. So I texted the communications officer from Kensington Palace and I said, I just wanted to flag up. I never use flag up, but I thought that sounded formal.
Did you start with touch base?
I just wanted to flag up. I am wearing a jean.
Yeah.
I said, it's a very nice, expensive indigo jean, though. I mean, she must have.
Uh-huh.
I said, so I hope that's okay. I don't wish to be disrespectful.
Oh.
Wow.
Do you think that was good?
Isn't it odd that this...
Never
You'd
send
met her
these
when she
messages
was in
here.
a suit.
I know. Yeah.
I suppose that would have been a hint.
Suits, yeah. So she didn't reply. I thought,
Nothing.
no. They're all having a meeting. They're having a meeting about
She
my
turned
jeans.
around and said, "Can you believe?"
But it was fine when I got there.
It
They were
was.
very welcoming. So we
Turned
looked
out
round.
that the Duchess was in a boiler suit. It's weird. Emily was overdressed.
Oh,
Duchess.
Boilerman.
When the imagine if I'd have gone in that outfit.
She's a
Straight from West
prankster.
Brom.
I just wanted to flag up. I do hope it's okay. I've come dressed as Boilerman, the West Bromwich official mascot.
And the person would have said, "I think you'll find Baggy Bird is the official mascot. That is the mascot of their sponsor, Ideal Boilers."
So I stood to greet her. She was a vision in cream. She's got the bump, you see, about 6 months.
Of course, I forgot about the bump.
And a lady at the centre, because they do this thing, I think they have pensioners coming there, which is a nice thing, so they can come and see dogs regularly and spend time with them. They're called sort of therapy dogs. She was called Peggy. She's originally from Jamaica, and she said, she said, may the good Lord take care of you and always bless you. You're a fat lady.
She said to you?
To Megan.
Oh, to Megan?
How dare you? Because she's pregnant.
I was trying to think of the worst thing that could have happened.
She said, you're a fat lady, she said.
Meaning pregnant, yeah.
Well, meaning pregnant, but Megan luckily laughed. She said, I'll take that. And it was all, but there was a minute.
She was talking about Kensington Palace.
What about if the lady had meant me and then Megan had taken one for me?
Oh, that would have been a nice. Sisters are doing it for themselves.
It would have been a nice thing. But then I got the intro. I got the big intro to her.
Well.
I said, the communications man said, would you come this way, please?
Was H there? He wasn't there.
No.
Just me. He's allergic, I've heard, to the dogs.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He's not. He loves the dogs.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he misunderstood and went to the dog racing.
He liked the corgis, of course, because they got the same colour hair.
She asked to see a picture of my dog, Megan.
She never did.
We chatted. I said, and I shook her hand. I embarrassed myself a bit. I mean, you do. I was so starstruck.
Yeah.
You didn't try and airdrop her the picture of...
I said, this is my fantasy morning, you and dogs. Isn't that embarrassing?
Oh, lovely. And what did she say?
She laughed.
Get her out of here, this broad.
She was charming, but I mean...
Who is this broad?
She doesn't talk like
Does she not talk like that?
No. She said, I asked about her dog, she asked about mine, and she pointed at my bag, and she went, let's have a look. And as in, get your phone out.
He wasn't in the bag?
No, my phone. So I got the phone out, and I didn't have any prepped.
The dog and bone?
I'm scrolling through pictures. There was one of Buzz on a beanbag, you and the cockerel from last week.
Oh, and that could have been embarrassing, like 72 breakfasts that you've eaten and sent to friends and
I
stuff.
found a good one in the end.
Did you?
She loved it.
Good.
She said it was adorable, yeah.
Going through your photos of Meghan Markle.
What a weird world, eh?
Yeah, I know.
Brilliant Wednesday.
I know.
Yeah, it is. What did I do? Oh, I bumped into Nina Conti at Company. I was excited, a bit disappointed, no monkey. But then again, so were you, I guess.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've had an email entitled Just Comment.
Comment?
Yeah, I think someone's made a comment and they've sent it to us under the title Comment. Lewis chessmen are not Anglo-Saxon, more than likely Norwegian, as Hebrides belonged to Norway in those days.
No, I'll
but
buy
wonderful artwork with an exclamation.
Yeah, I'm thinking more about the period but I know, they were.
Do you know what's very grounding for me that I've been talking about meeting Her Royal Highness Princess Meghan, and we've gone back to the Lewis chessmen.
Oh, sorry,
I'm saying I love that about our show.
I'd like to keep the place spinning.
I've got nothing more to say. I've said
you've said
my piece.
plenty,
It's the best moment of my life.
God bless her, but she's not the Lewis chessman.
She's my Lewis chessman.
Oh, well, fair enough. By the way, speaking of... we were talking about the game that stopped Theresa May from being on BBC One.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's currently my favourite non-West Bromwich Albion manager is the Southampton manager. It's the Austrian Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody whose name you can play on a flute, I just love. And he's everything about him at the moment, I love.
Yeah.
Good.
So, I think he's
his work.
So I think he should get priority over what, in the end of the day, was a fairly pedestrian speech.
Yes.
And Frank Lampard as well. Big night for him.
Lamps?
He trumps
I still
Theresa.
Heard that.
Oh, yeah. Anyway. Oh, I tell you what.
What?
What about the friendly devil?
Oh.
The Spanish sculpture that has caused something of a brouhaha.
Do you know what? I'm glad you raised that, Frank, because I felt a little bit sensitive bringing that up in front of you.
Well, no, I'm obviously I'm very interested in any representation of the devil.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, if people don't know, we should say this was a statue which was due to be erected in the city of Segovia in Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now there have been so many complaints. There was actually a petition. They said we should say, have you seen a mock-up of the statue, what it's meant to look like?
I like it.
You like it?
I really like it.
It's bronze,
So you wouldn't
isn't
have
it?
been one of the people that were
No, I think
grumbling?
those people got it all wrong,
All right.
to be honest.
It's the mock-up shows it's in bronze. He's smiling and he's taking a picture.
He's doing a
holding
selfie.
phone. Yeah,
Yeah.
he has a phone.
It's kind
with
of
him.
perfect, isn't it? That because if I think we'll all accept that the smartphone is basically a source of evil, and the selfie is an example, isn't it, of self-obsession,
Narcissism.
yeah,
all that stuff.
separation
Yeah.
from others, and all that sort of thing.
The modern threat to the human soul.
I mean, the very
We've had
fact
a lot
that
of
we
complaints.
need in this country an upskirt law might tell you what's gone wrong with the world as far as smartphones is concerned.
Good point.
Having said that, they're great for keeping up on the January transfer window. But,
Smartphones.
every cloud. Oh,
Not-
yeah.
Not upskirts.
They-
No, certainly
Yeah.
not.
They apparently. Do you know? I mean, I thought it was an odd choice, if I'm honest. The devil for a statue, anyway.
Well, he's
local
tied
legend.
to that city, isn't he?
Well, the local legend
Yes, yeah, they
says
think
he was
he made the
tricked
viaduct,
into.
didn't he?
He was tricked into building, which is a detail I enjoyed.
Yes.
He was tricked into building the aqueduct.
Yeah, you silly
you-
devil.
Can I ask the question?
Falling for one of those
tricked?
confidence tricksters that knocks on.
Can I ask
Probably-
a question before we go into this break? What's the difference between an aqueduct and a viaduct?
Oh.
I think you go over one and under the other,
Yeah.
Dave, but I
8,
can't
12,
remember which is
15.
which.
Yes.
8, 12, 15.
Aqua's water, that's all I know.
Oh, yeah. And Via, of course, is, as I say, 8, 12, 15.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Yeah, so they've had a petition. Can I ask you a question about Segovia? Many years ago, when I was a student at Warwick University, I went to Warwick Art Centre to see Segovia, the classical guitarist. He was about 81 or something.
Okay.
Right.
Now, is it like one of
That's
those?
quite a gig.
Is it? Yeah. Is it one of those Spanish things where his name wasn't Segovia, but he was from Segovia, so that's what they called him? A bit like Eric Morecambe.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I'm thinking now that this might be where he's from.
Yes.
Oh, maybe.
But you know,
I can't answer that emphatically.
no, don't. I just putting it out there, as they say.
10% of the city's population has signed a petition calling for the sculpture to be cancelled, and I think I looked, and it might even be more than that now. And I think what I can really take from this is that the Spanish are not as concerned about Brexit as they might be.
No.
If they're worrying about a potential statue on a bridge,
Well,
I don't think they're really taking our exit seriously.
No.
I looked at the wording of their.
Their
the English
complaint.
translation.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
They said the devil shouldn't look like this. First of all, I worry about anyone who says that doesn't look anything like the devil. You think, hold on.
And then gets
Hold
out
on a minute.
their phone and starts scrolling through their camera roll.
Exactly. I think, obviously, Catherine Jenkins could be brought in as the adjudicator. But they said the devil, I think they called him Satan.
No, because all's evil.
They said that he should be repulsive and despicable, not seductive.
Not jolly and seductive.
Surely
eh?
seductive that's how he sells tickets.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Like,
This
you
is
had
it.
one job, mate.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I don't wish to be rude about the way his
About
looks.
the devil. Yeah.
But I mean, I would hardly describe him as so hot right now, looking at that statue.
No, well, I mean,
you're
yeah,
right.
it was.
Yeah, I would have said
sending
he
him up.
looked fair to middling. Not that good.
Some people are saying,
According to
though,
Milton, he was the most beautiful angel. That's all I'm saying.
So he's divided opinion.
Yeah, that's this week.
That much we do know.
Milton was quoted. No, he actually wasn't. But I'm
Thanks.
quoting him.
stay tuned for all your hot Milton anecdotes here.
John Milton alerts here live on Absolute
Surely
Radio.
that's closed down, that app. Some people have said that this is offensive to Catholics. Now, we have Frank Skinner live in the studio.
Yes.
Frank Skinner, is this really offensive to Catholics?
Look, no. I don't think it is. I think it's a very...
Okay, that's all we've got time for.
That was very emphatic.
Makes a very good point. Makes a point about the modern lure of self-obsession, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
And also it shows that the devil takes many forms in order to seduce and appeal.
Right.
Also quite like it.
Yeah.
There was when I was a kid, I went to the Birmingham Art Gallery when I was a child, which is not something I'm going to pretend we did a lot when I was a kid. But I went there, and there was a Lucifer statue there, which was about 20 foot high, and had. Well, you wouldn't have mistaken its gender, let's put it that way.
Oh, goodness me.
I know, it was shocking to me.
Can't say the same for some of these Renaissance statues.
No, but this one... Well, this wasn't... This was Jacob Epstein.
Oh, yes.
And so I went years later, I mean like 20-odd years later, I returned to Birmingham Art Gallery and saw the same Lucifer. It's actually about 6 foot high. You know, when you're a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
I remembered it as being, and still a big lad, having said all that. And but I was terrified by it as a kid. I really
Tell me about it.
Gave me nightmare. No, I mean the Lucifer.
Okay.
Right.
In general. And when I went back, I saw it again. They had it in the tea rooms.
Oh,
I mean,
not so scary.
No, nowhere near as scary. So, I'd recommend going and seeing that one. That's a crack.
Would you?
Oh,
Okay, we've had some news in... Well, I've got 2 bits of news.
what a selfie that would have been. Sorry? I thought we'd have a break while Emily recovers.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I think we've had a bit more communicative action.
Firstly,
yes.
I've had incoming from Gabby Logan.
Ah, Gabby Logan.
Yeah.
I love Gabby Logan.
I mean, how can you not?
Respect Amundo.
Oh, she's got the thumbs up from the entire triumvirate.
Yes.
Yeah.
She says she's listening this morning.
Oh, God, good job. That's nice, though.
At least you didn't say, oh, that woman.
Yeah.
You were talking about the Southampton manager earlier, I believe.
What? Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Hasenhüttl means rabbit hutch in German.
Does
Gabby
it
says.
really?
Isn't that tremendous? Lovely.
I did not know that. So his name is Ralph Rabbit Hodge.
I mean, he should call himself that.
Oh, that's great. Because he'd have the alliteration as well, Ralph Rabbit Hodge.
Yes.
Rabbit Hutch, yeah.
I didn't know that. No, of course, now that I've said I haven't known it, was probably on Premier League Extra or something, an interview Gabby did with him. She'll be offended that I didn't watch.
Oh, it's hard to
What
keep
can you
up.
do?
It should
Hard to
be in
keep up
your,
when you're watching the Brexit news
Hasenhüttl
instead.
app.
Yes.
Fine. You should have one of those. Don't you get the alerts?
What?
The Ralph Hasenhüttl alert.
Hasenhüttl alert. I know what the tone would be. Doodle-doodle. Yeah.
We've also had quite a lot of aqueduct/viaduct news.
Yes,
Frank was asking, what's the difference, essentially, weren't you?
I was.
And of course, we've had various people tell us that it all goes back to your Latin. Aqua is water, via is route or road.
Of course, via
That was
me.
very Rees-Mogg of you.
Via
It all goes
media.
back to your Latin.
I should have worked it out. Via Media, the middle road.
Yes. Aqueduct transports water, viaduct transports people/vehicles.
Yeah, and they've all got that slight Loch Ness monster, uppy downy, curvy thing.
Yes.
If the Loch Ness monster went off on his travels, left Loch Ness and tried to traverse Britain by waterways.
Yes.
When he approached an aqueduct, all he needs to do is go sideways and he'd fit under absolutely. Although I think they go down to the bed, do they?
That's a lovely tip you're giving
Not
him this
sure.
morning,
Yeah,
if he's listening.
Have you got a
he's-
favourite viaduct? Mine's probably Stockport.
Oh,
Shout out to
you know
Stockport
what?
Viaduct.
I don't think I have got a favourite viaduct. I wish I had.
8, 12, 15.
I've certainly got favourite viaduct envy. I wish I could have just rattled one off there, but I couldn't.
Simon rattled.
Yeah, if I could have Simon rattled one. Now, happy birthday, Simon, if you're listening.
Yeah. How old today? Is he still alive at
Something like.
Do you know the age? I think he might have
I
been.
can't remember now.
He's not as old as you think. I think Simon Rattle.
No.
But it's all right. We play a game in the mornings where you have to guess how old people are whose birthday is.
Yes, I'm exempt from it, but it's with celebrities.
Yeah, we don't
it?
play it on air because I think Hawksby and Jacobs already play it on Talk Sport as part of their show, and I wouldn't want to rip them off, them being very old friends of mine. But we play it in the office.
Yeah.
And
I got spot on Jensen Button this morning, but
I'm afraid this morning's winner was Alan Cochrane.
Yeah.
Coming in fabulous. What was that late one I think you got?
I got someone dead on at the end, didn't I? I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I know. I got Jensen Button dead on.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You did. Very well.
This is good radio.
This is odd radio. I'm not gonna lie.
This is a sports report on an office game. Speaking of office games...
No, I'm not doing Twister with you.
No,
not in this day and age.
No, we're talking about things being on the telly and things being on the other side and them clashing. I remember being in an office once. I was visiting, of course, and everyone was there, hunched over their desks, typing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hate that.
And suddenly everyone said, no, here it comes. And they all stopped and put the telly on. And I thought, well, this is obviously something.
What is it?
It was the O.J. Simpson verdict.
Oh, wow.
Stop the clock. Stop all the clocks. I mean, because it was so big.
It was big.
Well, Frank, I remember being in an office, newspaper office.
Oh, yes.
And similar thing. Stop, everyone gather round. And it was Nasty Nick's interview when he left Big Brother.
What?
It was so huge, you forget.
What about my granny said they got into school one morning and the teacher said, we've all got to go straight into the hall. And they all went into the hall, sat cross-legged. And the headmistress went on stage and said, Queen Victoria's died. Whoa. Hey, that's blown your nasty Nick out the water.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I still want to know how this devil was tricked, but anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Into building the viaduct. Aqueduct.
No, it's what did he built an aqueduct, didn't he? Yeah.
He did.
I don't know. It's
Big wow.
It's probably a great old story.
Yeah.
Well, 497 says, Frank, I do have a favourite viaduct. I put forward Stockport, and she says it runs between Haywards Heath and Balcombe. Balcombe?
I'd go Balcombe.
In West Sussex on the London to Brighton train line.
Does it?
Sue from Sussex.
Sue from Sussex.
I must check that out.
Yeah.
That's a train I get now and again.
Do you know, you're going to have to get one, Frank.
A viaduct?
A viaduct?
Yeah, Fave.
Oh, fine. Not get my own.
His own. I was thinking. I mean, he gets sent a lot of stuff, but the postage on sending him a viaduct.
You must be able to get some platform shoes with like viaduct soles. Actually, they'd be aqueduct soles, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Wouldn't they need to?
If they're travelling a person, surely there would be viaduct.
Well, you can
soles.
get that on a bag, on an Alexander McQueen bag, where the clutch goes over each finger, which is a sort of aqueduct, viaduct construction. Do you see?
Anyway.
It's been a wide-ranging show this week, hasn't it?
Someone sent a text that said, shame on you, Frank Skinner.
That's right, yeah. Do you want me to read you that one?
Well, to be fair, I think it was collective responsibility.
Well, actually, it was a thing you said, but they were blaming Frank.
They blamed Frank.
We never got to the bottom of whether running makes your face all saggy. But you know what? Can I just say, I'm not anti-running, I'm pro-running. I used to run 8 miles a day, and it was, I felt great. I looked terrible. That's all. But I love the poetry of W.H. Auden, and his face is all over. His face is wind affected.
Yeah, and we're all fans of Beckett.
Yeah,
so I'm not judging people by their faces. Those days are gone. So I think it's fine. I would say run, and if it makes you ugly, it's still better to be fit.
100.
Yeah, I don't know if it does or if it doesn't.
I don't either.
Yeah, we don't know.
I merely asked the question.
But I encourage people. Obviously, I encourage people to run and keep fit. It's something clearly that's in my rearview mirror at my age. But I think other people should do it, certainly.
I like to box. Takes all sorts.
Do you like to box?
I love to box.
Oh,
Alan
okay.
grapples. Okay.
Alan Grapple.
Swing a kettlebell now and again.
What do you do?
I've got 71 stairs from the kitchen to the room where I work. That'll do me. That'll do me. You got to be careful. I don't want to die. We'll leave it on that. We'll leave it on that.
What an end.
See you next week, everyone.
Remember Jim Fix? Do you remember him? He basically invented jogging, and then he was out jogging one day and he dropped like a stone.
Oh, that Jim Fix.
Yeah. How many Jim Fixes are there?
Well,
we'll tell you after.
We'll tell you after.
Oh, is there another one?
No.
Are you looking
Not anymore. Not anymore.
You're looking at me like I've said something really bad.
You haven't.
You'll realise.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, dear. So, anyway, what a show it's been.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.